and come and settle in with me for this workshop on how to navigate the most difficult moments with your kids or teens. Yay. Hi, Sarah. Can you hear me okay? And not just navigate them with grace and ease, but actually find the best possible outcome for you and your child or adolescent, your teenager. How are you going to actually change the pattern? How are you going to stop getting lost in frustration? Thanks, Lori. Glad you're here. Excited to see you. How are you going to actually change the pattern for good and create a new and different outcome, a better outcome? I'm going to show you how to do that today. So those of you who have a tough kiddo or one that's very different from you, and you find yourself thinking, or you hear your parents saying like, that never would have gone over when you were a kid, or you think, I never would have done that, I never would have behaved that way. Even if you are super compassionate about your child who is really bringing the challenges, it can rock you to your core when you have a kid who's pushing all the buttons. And I like to call this particular child your guru. Your child is here to teach you from your higher self perspective all about the places that are ready to grow, expand, and all the old paradigms that are ready to be transformed. So it's a block we can transform when we hit a wall with one of our kids in the relationship. It might also be in your marriage. This is a place that can be transformed. So I'm really excited for this talk. It is not, as always with every training that I give, this is a talk that can also apply to your career path. It can also apply to your marriage. We're going to focus on kids today. Apply it in whatever way you need to, but always, 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 it's all about us. It's all about you. It's all about you at the center. So let's go there today, and just invite you to really turn off distractions and listen if you're here for what you need today. Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to navigate those tough moments with your children or in parenting. And because it feels better when we can do it better, we feel better about ourselves, and because we really want to create a new and better outcome. We don't want to keep falling in the same way or getting stuck or hitting the same wall. That doesn't feel good. We know that that's the definition of insanity, sort of, tongue in cheek. That's the definition of insanity. Doing things again and again the same way and expecting different results. That is what makes us feel crazy, makes us feel nuts. And who wants that? None of us want that. So let's talk about how to get out of that pattern and how to actually create new solutions from the inside of that dynamic out. So some things your kids or adolescents, teens may be doing. And you can add yours in the comments. While you do that, I'm going to offer you some ideas. What are your kids doing that totally just push all your buttons? What's the behavior look like? What's something they say or something that they do that you just freak out about, or really just push you right up to the edge? So some things kids do, they yell at each other, they yell at us. They get some parents are really bothered by kids getting sneaky. So they're stealing, they're lying, they're sneaking, they are doing behaviors that feel manipulative if they're older. They are ignoring you. I mean, probably, the biggest thing that flips my lid, and a lot of us as caring, attentive mothers, when we're doing all the things, we're caring, we're paying attention, we are listening, and a kid just tunes us out, just ignores. So if you have a child who ignores you from time to time or a lot, and then that's a bigger problem. If they're really not listening to you, if you have this sense that they're just not listening, that you're saying things but they're not taking it in, that it's just falling on deaf ears, or they're just they've got their back to you, so there's no real good connection and contact, If you are telling them to do something and they're just refusing to do it. So defiance, non-compliance. We like to use these names, don't we? And the DSM likes to diagnose and say things like oppositional defiant disorder is a thing. So this means our kids are not, this means, what does oppositional defiant disorder mean? It means there's no real authentic, trusting connection between the child and you that you can leverage in order to help them to do what you know they need to do that is best for them to become a functional human in the world. That's my definition of oppositional defiant disorder. Heal the relationship. Okay, so when you find that there are things that are breaking down in your kiddo, they're really struggling, and kids have needs. They have big needs. One mistake that so many parents make is we just look and make assumptions based on the behavior we're seeing. We think we know what's going on, but are we looking underneath for the needs? Are we valuing our children's needs? And I'm going to tell you why you might not be doing that, but I'm going to come back to that in a moment. Okay, so your kid is doing all these things. So how do you feel? How do you feel when they are engaging in those behaviors? When they're shouting at you, when they're yelling, when they're fighting with their sibling, when they're ignoring what you've asked them to do? Just think for a second and ask yourself, like, what happens in me? How do I feel when my kids do that? Okay. Once you've got that, and drop it in the comments, let's participate. Drop it in the comments. Once you get that, then ask, how are they feeling? How are they feeling? Some of us err on the side of over empathizing, over connecting with our kids, being in their experience so much we don't feel our experience. Others of us err on the side of being so wrapped up in our own experience that we forget that they're having a feeling. We forget that it matters what they're feeling. We forget that they're having a need. So these are things to massively increase your awareness in your interactions with your kids to bring better outcomes. Finding the best outcome means just that. It means finding the most peaceful, the most assured path for you and your particular child. Okay, it's not about anybody else's kid. It's not about all the books on my shelf, what they say. It's not about every podcast you listen to from a parenting expert. Every single parent-child relationship is as unique as you are and your child is. And the relationship you form together is dynamic. It's expanding, it's growing, or it's contracting. It's moving and changing in some way. It is responding. The relationship is responding to your state of being. The relationship responds to how you feel on a daily basis, to the thoughts you're thinking, and to how you envision your child, okay, how you perceive your child. And not many people are talking about this, but it is the crux of a healthy family, and it is the crux of being a happy parent, being a happy mother, and feeling like I'm doing a damn good job. No wonder these kids are thriving. You know, the core of that is understanding these things I'm talking about. So what we want is to stop running in the loops. What we want is to stop engaging in a power struggle. When our kid pushes us past our happy place, over the edge, when they test our limits to see what happens, and we don't have any solid ground to stand on, then we've lost control. We get angry. We want to blame them for putting us in that position. We want to try to control it and make it stop. So we threaten them. We use power. We use fear to try to just make it stop. Just make it stop. And you know, you've probably heard yourself thinking those words, just please God, make it stop. You know, you may have that silent prayer on a mantra. Think about what that says. Think about the power of those words. Think about the energy of what you're saying. It's great you're asking for help, but what are you saying? Like, I am totally powerless here. I don't know what to do. I am lost. I don't have any cards to play. And it's okay, but more powerful if you just acknowledge, I don't have the solution. I don't know what to do. Okay, so why does the kid push? Why do our kids and our teens really push us hard? Well, do you know? Why are they pushing? What are they testing? What do they want to know? I know some of you on this call know the answer. Those of you who listen back, comment too. Why do you think our kids are pushing us? So, do you think that it is to drive us crazy? Do you think that it is to wreck the family, to break up the bond between parents? Because this is how we act. We blame them for creating chaos at home. We blame them for bringing the drama. We blame them for making life hard for us. And we blame them for pitting us against our partners. We think things like, it was easier before you came along, or you projected on your spouse. If only he was not here, this whole thing would be easier. These are all illusions. These are all thoughts your mind comes up with to try to just help you to cope with where you are now and kind of make sense of it. So what's really going on? They're pushing. Oh, good. Okay. They're pushing because they want to know. Yes, Patrizia. They want to know where their boundary is. And what does that mean in emotional language? Like, what really is that? Just boil that all down. Like, am I safe right now? I feel so scared of myself, of this big, powerful world, of my own feelings, which are overwhelming, that I have no frame of reference for. I feel completely out of control. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to deal right now. Who can help me through this? So if our kids are thinking that, and that's why they're pushing against us, just listen to that description. Who else in the room is feeling that way? Who else in the room is feeling, I don't know what to do. This is totally overwhelming. I can't deal with my feelings. I'm not safe in my body. There's no one here to help me. Who, right? Are you feeling that? I know in my life I felt that. That's what we feel in motherhood. That's the gift motherhood gives us. And the reason why it's a gift is because there's really nowhere else you can go in your life, very few places. They're going to push you out of the nest that far that you feel completely scared and unsafe and responsible for someone else's life at the same time. There are a few other places, but in an ongoing, everyday way, this is the gift of motherhood. So why is it a gift? It's a gift because it shines a light in us on where we are not knowing how to navigate that, where we aren't sure how to navigate our scared places. It shows us where we're driven by fear versus where we are subscribing to and buying into loving awareness. Okay. Are you still with me? Okay. Yes, they're working through their fear. They're wanting to know, how do I connect? Where do I fit in? And just, without any cognition, without any cognitive awareness, their system, their nervous system is overwhelmed by the bigness of what's happening in the moment. And kids are so beautiful. They are our best teachers in how to live in the present. They are not worried about tomorrow. They are not regretting yesterday. Kids 0 to 8, 0 to 9, even a little older sometimes, are just right here, right now. They are not in future worry. We're in future worry. We're worrying about, oh my God, what's going to happen to my kid? How is he or she ever going to how is he or she ever going to learn to regulate their emotions? How are they going to make it in a school, in a structured setting? How is my kid going to, your mind goes down the rabbit holes of all the things that might go wrong. And your kid is just trying to figure out how to stay safe. And I am here to tell you that we are all trying to learn how to create safety in our own bodies. So many of us here, so many of you I know, have survived incredible trauma. And even if you lived a life of privilege and you came from a safe family and you had an intact home and people to care for you, there were still undoubtedly experiences that you survived as a child that had you wondering if you were going to make it through to the other side. That is the definition of trauma. So when our kids are non-compliant, when they're disrespectful, when they say, I hate you, I'm so mad at you, mean mommy, or when they're teens and they just walk out on you, or they rip the door off the hinges. I've seen it happen. not in my own house. I used to work in home with teens who would rip doors off the hinges, and I would stand next to mom and say, "What's happening for you right now? So let's ground you, and then let's see what you've got to work with." These are moments that send us spinning into fear because our kids are scared. We get scared. Okay. This is a big reframe from they're so uncooperative, totally defiant. You're just trying to stir up trouble. Why do you want us to be so unhappy? Okay, if you're there, listen to the quality of what you're saying and listen to how you feel when you think those thoughts and say those words. Listen to what that does to you in your body and listen to what kind of thoughts it produces. This is pure gold, what I'm telling you. I want you to know not everyone can use this and put it into practice right away, but if you've been on a learning and growing path, then take this, what I'm saying to you, and take it to the next level. Write it down and start putting these tools into practice every day and see what kind of awareness you're able to uncover inside of you. Okay, shift the attention and the focus off your child and onto you. So when your kids are doing these things, when they're being defiant, when they're being aggressive, how about hitting? That's a big one. Little kids hitting. Big kids hitting, you got a bigger problem and you got to amp it up and get more help. Okay, little kids hitting, we want to stop it when they're little because we don't want them to grow bigger than us and think that it's okay to hit. So we have to put a stop to that. We have to put a stop to that. Okay, and if you have a young kid that's hitting you and that scares you because you have trauma history, you need to get some in-person help right now. Okay, that's a crisis situation that needs to be addressed. It doesn't matter that they're 2 or 3. If you're afraid to hold your child safely from hurting him or herself, or from potentially hurting a sibling or you, because you don't know how to ground or find your center or find your own safe place inside, you got to go work with someone who knows how to help you create that safety inside of you so you can stop that physical aggression. Okay. So, tell me in the comments what's happening when your kid is pushing you, in you. So really draw in your awareness and think, what flips in you? Or do you get angry? Do you feel discouraged? Do you go to do you detach and withdraw? Do you worry about that? What happens? So put that in the comments. So another thing that's not working is and a lot of parents are doing this, is to just try to force your kid to do what you want them to do. And if you have a strong-willed child, you are already getting some very tough lessons and blessings of learning in how this is not the way. This is not the highest path for the highest good of all for you and your family. So it never works to try to force anyone else to do anything. A partner, a parent, and a child, another human who works for you. It's just not a good idea. We all have our own sense of agency, whether we are utilizing it or not. And that needs to be respected. So same goes for a child. Their own sense of agency they need to discover. And to see a lot of tuned in, compassionate parents who have been on a spiritual path for a long time and are meditating and called their children in very intentionally and with so much love, and the kids come and bam, these kids are supercharged. They are on fire. They're super spirited. They have their own mind. They don't recognize authority. They march to their own beat of their own drum, and they don't want to do it, and they will never do it like anyone else suggests. They're here to carve their own path. And the message is kind of like, just get out of my way. And if you have a kid like that, then you have received a massive blessing and a gift. And you may be struggling with trying to force that square peg in a round hole, or you have drawn on all of your tools and you are going into your Zen about it. You are finding your center. You are watching your kid and you're thinking, you know what's happening intuitively, and you go, I don't want to get in their way because I know there's something super special and amazing about this kid. And wow, the fact that they're a natural leader, and doesn't bother you that they're ADHD, doesn't bother you that your kid has trouble socially in school, or doesn't bother because you know they're super special and you know this is part of a larger plan. But then what do you do with this kid? As a lot of parents come to me at this point, well, now what? I get it that this kid is special. And also I don't want to put out her fire. I don't want to squelch her spirit, but maybe I haven't been setting the limits that I need to because it always leads to power struggle. It always leads to meltdowns. And I don't want to do that. I'm not willing to compromise my own sanity for that. And so where do we go from here? And if you've come from that experience, then I just want to acknowledge that it is new landscape we're in. This is new. This is uncharted waters. And as far as I know, nobody's been writing books about this. But just know that if you have a kid like that, your child is super special and they're calling up some kind of next level connection with you. So if you're not into trying to learn new ways of doing things or up level your own inner game, then it's going to continue to feel like a struggle. If you try to either just completely let go of them, they will feel more and more unsafe. They will feel unsafe in the world. They'll feel there's no safety at home with clear boundaries. And they'll just continue to push until they hold all the power in the house, until they're in control of mom or in control of dad, or they're calling all the shots. And guess what? It feels like total crap to them. It feels like crap to us, feels like even more crap to them. That is not the way the world works and is not what will serve them best. So if you're finding yourself stuck in that dynamic, just reach out, PM me, we'll chat about it. I'll give you some ideas. So it's not working to force your kids to do it your way. Okay, but there are certain things that when you ask are reasonable and you need them to take action. Otherwise, the room becomes garbage dump, or otherwise you just are stepping on crap everywhere and they don't learn the life skill of picking up what they take out or whatever it is. Maybe it's something bigger and emotionally messy. Might be material or it might be emotional, whatever it is. You need to teach them how to feel organized in their space and on the inside too. And guess what? We cannot teach anything to anyone else that we don't already have, that we don't know how to do. Okay, so I'm going to give you something to go with today on that to help you start on this path. Maybe this is beginning or maybe this is adding to your practice. So trying to force our kids to do something now or our way or threatening them or scaring them into it creates less safety. Okay, I talked earlier about safety. We all want to feel safe. When our kids are pushing us, we don't feel safe. And I know you're not recognizing it that way unless you've worked with me before, but just know that is what's happening. Check in with yourself. Is your body relaxed? You know, are you like able to think clearly when they're going off? If the answer is no, it's because of a lack of feeling safe, okay? Feeling out of control of your thoughts, of your emotions, of your body. And that's obvious if you're somebody who throws things or breaks things, you know you're out of control of your body. But if it's just emotional and you're just going into this burying it and holding it down, stuffing it down so tightly, it's trying to hang on and stay safe. You're looking for something to grab onto, but there's nothing there because we have to create that peace. Okay, so we go into constriction, we go into fear. When we don't have that baseline of calm, we spin out, okay? Our thoughts sound like, oh my God, this is so awful. What am I going to do? I can't do this. This kid is going to put me into an early grave. And you may be thinking it or you may be saying it out loud. What is wrong with you? What is the matter with you? Have you ever felt those words come out of your mouth or just thought like, what am I doing wrong? What am I missing? Why is this so hard? So if power struggle is not the answer, then what is? All right, here we go. So last part of our training today. All right, focus with me. Let's do a little experiment. It's going to be like a 3-minute experiment. Take a deep breath. Exhale out, open mouth, big lion's breath. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out everything that you're holding. Let it go. Fully to the bottom. Okay. Hand over your heart. Draw your attention and awareness into your body now. One more breath to get connected to you. Now with your eyes closed, keep your eyes closed. Imagine that you have just asked your child to do something and you want them to do it. You need them to do it. It just has to happen. They got to do this so you can get out the door so you could go earn a living and afford to pay their overpriced school, and it just needs to happen. Okay? You need them out of your way so you can make food for them, or else everyone's going to go hungry. Imagine you just asked your child or your teen to do something you want them to do, you need them to do. It's a reasonable request, and it's a part of the expectations. It's part of the house rules. So it's not like the first time they've heard it. They know they got to do it. You're not being unreasonable. Okay. They say no. No. Or worse, they ignore you. They walk away. Feel what comes up for you. So tune in deeper into you now and feel what comes up for you by feeling what comes up in you. So feel what's in you. Breathe into that. Take a breath. I want you to soften into what you feel inside your body. Go where your attention pulls you, maybe into the back of your neck, maybe into a headache, maybe into your belly all tight. Your chest feels tight, it's hard to get a breath. Possibly you feel anger rising up or panic. Okay, those are great things to notice. Now that you notice that, I want you to name it. Say it out loud. My heart hurts. I can't breathe. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I feel so angry about this. Name it. Name it. Okay? If you can say it out loud, do it. Do that. When you recognize, acknowledge, and name what's going on for you in your bodily experience, you're seeing you. You're not alone. You're not alone in that. You're seeing you. You're with you. You're observing your experience. You are also taking one step out of the experience. So you're not the feeling. You're not the sense. You're not your child's emotion. You're not the confusion you feel about why they're so mad. You're not that, okay? And now, instead of shoving it down, walking away, going in to scroll your phone, numbing out, shouting, yelling, snapping, threatening to try to control them, or text bombing your partner who's not home yet, instead of all those things, choose to stay with you. Now, I get it that you may not know how. And I get it that this may bring up more fear for you than you know how to navigate on your own. And if that's the case, then connect with me. Just PM me if you want to know if you can be helped, if I can help you. If there's something else you can be doing right now to really bring ease to your experience, stay with you, feel you, soften to that. So I invite you to start using this checking in with you in the difficult moments. Use it in them and outside of them to start now developing a muscle for being with you and observing your experience, especially when it's hard, okay? When you do this, when you put your hand over your heart, soften, breathe, and just check in with your experience. When you name it, you are slowing everybody in the room down. Now, this is I'm going to simplify this explanation of what's happening. But in a relationship with your child, you're very energetically linked, tied, connected. You are the cornerstone of how your kids are feeling, like it or not. And people go, that's a lot of pressure. It is. It is a lot of pressure. It's also a huge blessing and a privilege. We get to be this for our kids. We either get to be out of control and reactive, or we get to be stronger, more confident, more assured, more stable, more secure, more in tune with our intuition, and offering them those things, those gifts. Okay. In doing this slowing down, you offer them a new vibration. You offer them a new feeling. You offer them something new you were not offering them before. And you have just completely shifted a dynamic and a pattern in the moment by doing just what I showed you how to do here today. Okay. This is a very powerful intervention to use, and it is one piece of the pie. Of course, there are many other things that we need to do in order to know and understand how to make this our norm, our everyday, just our everyday neighborhood. The place where we hang out is that grounded place. The place where we hang out is that I'm connected to my intuition. I'm flowing in that. I don't ever have to stop and think about anything. I'm never in self-doubt because I have total confidence in my decisions and my trust in my decisions. So because I'm tuned in, I'm connected to me. There's no junk in the channel. It flows through what's best for my kids. I know it. I move on that. I take action easily on that. There's no resistance to that action. There's no resistance to my action of setting a boundary and setting a limit with my kids when I know I need something done, and connecting with them about how important that is and having them hear me, because we practice it every day in our house, because I know and believe it's the right thing to do. Okay, I don't spin in guilt or doubt about that. I come from a place of assurance, of clarity, and then I offer them that vibration. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. All right. So first this needs to happen, and then that. Are you clear on that? Okay. Are you going to need support in that, or do you want to do it yourself? Okay. And that approach can be used for most of the teen years too. At some point, they are not going to take it in. But that's why it's so critical to build the communication now, to build the trust now, to build the value in the relationship for them now. It's not just about us, so that later they know who to turn to. They know who to talk to. They don't hesitate to come to you with a problem or a fear. They don't hesitate to cry on your shoulder and collapse when life has handed them a really bad breakup, or when they're struggling to not follow a friend into some bad decisions. We want them to come to us. We want to be their biggest positive influence. We want to be their wise teacher. We want to be their biggest support. So, worried that this is not what you're creating and you're wanting to know how to create that, then feel free to reach out to me. Just shoot me a PM. We'll talk about it. Or comment below. Drop all your questions here. The biggest part of this message is that you have more power than you realize, and that you have more influence than you realize with your kids. No matter how challenging the behaviors are that they bring, it can all change and get better. All of it. And many parents are under the false pretense that they have very little influence over their kids' behaviors and boundary pushing, and that's just completely not true. It's not true at all. It's all here for us. Much of what they're doing is because of us, coming from them, but wanting to see how we're going to respond and react. And it's important to know how to be a strong presence in the face of that, so that we can meet them with love, loving assurance, consistent loving assurance, and always, always, always taking care of ourselves through the process. So even if they're having a terrible day, that doesn't mean you have to have a terrible day. Your kids can be tanking, but you can be absolutely fine. What a concept, right? It took me a while to really get that one, but I had some very good teachers, meaning my kids really know how to bring it. And then, and my own professional teachers as well. And to learn that is one of the most freeing things of all time. So get to know this place in you in the most intense moments. Go back and listen again. Practice this on your own. Practice it with your kids. Practice it with your partner. Practice it with work and social situations. Anything that causes you anxiety, anything that triggers overwhelm or anger or feeling out of control. What happens from here is that you open up to the magic that self-connection and self-love and self-awareness make possible. Suddenly, instead of having nothing available to you, or only the tools you had before, which were not working, you have new tools available to you, new inspired ideas, new creativity, because your frontal cortex is online. You are grounded. You are calm. You're connected to your inner wisdom. When you learn how to tap into that, you will know that there are a limitless number of options available to you in any tough moment with your kids. So be with your body in these moments, name what you feel, and give so much thanks for them, because they are here to help us transcend whatever stuck places we've got going on inside. Let me know if this was helpful to you. Let me know what your questions are. So here wanting to help and wanting to help you up level and clean up your inner game and face those tough moments with your kids with so much more grace and ease than you ever have before. And I promise you, if you try this, what I've shown you today, you will instantly feel and see that you are shifting. And if you stay with it, you will see that what becomes possible for your child will also open up and change. Lots of love.